Welcome to my kitchen. Today we're going to make a delicious lasagna recipe that combines Southwestern cuisine with traditional Italian. It freezes well, is great for potlucks, and is absolutely fantastic. So let's get started because this is going to be your family's favorite. Well, the first thing you're going to want to do is preheat your oven to 350 degrees, which I've already done. Now, many of you may have thought that to cook healthy, you couldn't have pasta dishes. And while I don't recommend them all the time, this is a healthy recipe. By using whole wheat noodles that you'll see over here, I'm cutting down the simple carbohydrates and I'm getting back the fiber in the wheat. If you're not used to whole wheat pasta, this recipe is a great one to try because the other flavors in the dish blend well with the noodles. So let's talk about noodles for just a moment. I found these at my regular grocery store. I mean, you can get these now in the town that I live in. We've got stores like Albertsons, Kroger's, we've got Walmart Supercenter, and I found whole wheat noodles in all those stores. So they're getting more readily available and you can do it. Now, so to start, you've got your oven on. You're going to cook the noodles according to package instructions, and normally for this recipe one package will do. I've already cooked and drained mine and they're ready to go. So now for the filling, we're going to need two mixing bowls, one for our spinach cheese mixture and one for the sauce. So first let's start with the cheese mixture. Now I'm going to start with 15 ounces yogurt cheese. That's equivalent to one package of ricotta cheese. If you don't want to mess with this, you can use the ricotta, but I've got to tell you, cooking with this yogurt cheese is great. It's one of the healthiest in the dairy family. But I do find that recipes can be a little dry, so I might want to add a couple scoops extra, like a spatula's worth or a spoon or two. Just a little bit extra of the yogurt cheese. Now, we get that just by draining plain yogurt in a coffee strainer in a little bowl. Put it about 2 or 3 hours in the refrigerator, and you've got this cheese. Isn't that awesome? All right, so to that, I've got one package of chopped frozen spinach that's been drained, thawed, and drained really well. I mean, squeeze all that water out of it. So let's just get mixing this up. Oh, this is so much fun. I've got to tell you, lasagna has been one of my family's favorites my entire life. I can remember back in med school when this would be a special treat that Richard and I would do at anniversaries and different occasions. So we're going to mix that up really good. And then we're going to put in 1 cup of shredded organic cheese, which I am using today soy cheese because I want to cut down cholesterol. Either kind works really good. But for this recipe, since we're going to go a little to the Southwestern flair, we're going to do the jack as opposed to mozzarella, which you would do in Italian. Then we've got 1/4 cup of chopped cilantro. Fresh cilantro is the best. And just a little pinch of sea salt. You can omit that if you need to. All right, I'm just going to mix this up really good and set it aside, and then we'll get on to our sauce. This is so good. I tell you, the family is going to love it. Okay, we'll mix that up really good, and then I'll just put it over here. And now for the sauce. I'm going to start with 2 cans black beans that have been rinsed and drained, just a normal size can. If you want to make them at home, better yet. And this would be the equivalent of about 4 cups. All right, we'll take our black beans. Now, for this recipe, we're going to smash them with a potato masher. So this is the type that I use. You don't do it too much, just mash them till they're broken. A fork works really good too, if you don't want to if you don't have one of these or you don't want to fuss with it. But I kind of mash them up where they're broken, but not like refrieds, okay? So we'll just mash that up. Get them kind of broken up good. You can kind of see the whites of the beans popping out. And you know, black beans are the healthiest of all the beans. So they're really good for us, high in protein, high in fiber. Now that works really good. Now wasn't that just good? Just like that. But I just wanted to show you, you can use a fork just by taking it and smashing it like that. If you want to, it takes a little bit longer, but it works. Okay, so I'm going to break that up a little bit because I smashed them down. Now, I'm going to use 1 jar of regular prepared pasta sauce. This is where you can get in trouble, so be sure to read your label so you don't get hidden sugar and salts. This is an organic sugar-free sauce that I got at the health food store. If you can't find it prepared, you can easily make your own. Just use the type that you would in spaghetti sauce and it will taste fine. In other words, don't get the type that has all the other things added. Just get a plain tomato basil, something like that. Okay, so we'll just take that and mix that in. And then here's the secret that makes this recipe so delicious. And that's a little ground cumin that we're going to put in here. Oh, I love that. Then we're going to layer up our lasagna, and it's going to be good. We're going to start, of course, by preparing our pan. So I'm going to put a little oil on the bottom of my pan because I don't want it to stick. Not too much, just a little. There we go. I love to do walnut oil because it gives it such a nutty flavor and it's such a healthy oil. And I'll get the sides too because I'm going to get some of those noodles on the sides. So we'll just spread that out. Then I'm going to take just a little bit of my sauce, not too much, but a little, and spread on the bottom of the pan. And this is going to be a thinner layer than I'll put later on. But again, this is simply just to get some moisture down in here so that I don't, actually I prefer my spatula, or as we were saying before the show, it's a spoon spatula mixture. But see, it's not really spread out, that's okay. I just want it to get wet so the noodles don't stick because I don't want to use up all my sauce. Okay, now we're going to start with the layering. I'm going to put 3 noodles across the bottom, my whole wheat noodles that have already been pre-cooked, rinsed and drained. And you can just overlap them, that's fine. Sometimes if I cook extra, I'll even put another layer across the seams just because my family really likes them. And that's what we like to do. Okay, now, the next thing I'm going to do is put 1/3 of my bean sauce because I have 3 layers that I'm going to make. So I'm going to use 1/3 of this. So we'll just sort of guesstimate here. And then we'll spread it all out. Okay, there we go. And then we're going to layer up with our yogurt cheese mixture. A little bit more of that. So you kind of just eyeball it. It doesn't really matter. It's really good, and it's smelling good already. Okay, we've got that. Now, on my spinach cheese mixture, I'm going to use half of this because this just goes on this layer and the middle layer. So I'll take this and scoop it out for you. And then I will spread it out. It's kind of the fun part, isn't it? After I get this all in here good, then we'll just top it with a little bit of cheese, and then you'll repeat the layers. So let me get this good, and then I'll put a topping of 1 cup of shredded organic cheese. And you know what? You do not have to worry about it being perfect, and if you're trying to cut down on fats and cholesterols, you can leave the cheese out in the inner layers, and it's not going to affect the taste. I've done it sometimes, my family never knew. So we're going to do it just like that, and now I'm going to get 1 cup of my cheese, and I'm going to spread it out. About half of this one would be it, just like that, and then repeat your layers. Now that we've finished this layer, let's just go ahead, get the rest of this cheese out here, and then we'll put on our top layer. All right, so we've got 1 more layer of whole wheat noodles, which are so good, and I'm telling you, the kids are never going to know the flavors in this dish really hide the taste of these noodles. So our top layer just gets the bean mixture. So we'll put our sauce just like this, spread it out, then we'll top it with cheese and bake it. It's going to be good. So, got our oven good and hot, and spread this out really good, and I'll put a final cup of shredded organic soy cheese. And that is, I use the Jack flavor, but sometimes you can just get the mozzarella. It just depends what you have in your store. So, we'll put this in here. Let's get a little cheese on here. We'll cover it with foil, and then we'll pop it in the oven for about an hour. All right, that's good. Now I got me a piece of foil out here, and let's go get this in the oven. We're going to bake it for an hour, then we're going to take it out, and then we're going to take the foil off, and you want the final 5 minutes just to be in there uncovered to let the cheeses melt and get really good. So let's go to the oven and get our finished dish. Oh, I tell you, this finished dish is smelling so good. I'm ready for it. Here we go. It's nice and hot. Oh my goodness, almost too hot. That's great though. Oh, look at this. It's going to be so good. Oh, it's beautiful and it's just perfect. It smells and looks just wonderful. I can't wait to serve it up for you. Now, when you do this at home, when you take it out of the oven, let it sit for 10 minutes or so before you serve it to let it set up. That's a good time to finish the dinner, get your salad ready and whatever. Then when you're ready to serve it, simply cut the noodles in the direction that the noodles go. So I'm going to go in, they call it ribbons, and I'm going to cut it that way so it stays nicely. I'm going to cut it just like this. There we go. This one just looks like it's done perfectly. And it's really good to work with a spatula. Then I'll take it just like this. How pretty. Now look at that. Now, for toppings, this is the fun part. Some fresh cilantro, just kind of sprinkled on the plate. Maybe some freshly grated Parmesan. And oh, it is beautiful. This is just great with a salad and a vegetable. Makes a really interesting meal. Or how about Spanish rice tortillas, chips, and salsa? And don't forget the guacamole. You can gear your dinner either way, the Italian or the Southwestern. The taste is just fantastic, and I got to tell you, the cumin and black beans add such an unexpected flavor to an Italian classic. You've got to make this one. I tell you, when the teenagers visit my house and I've made this, it doesn't even make it to the table. Thank you so much for being with me today. For a copy of today's recipe, log on to healthycookingwithcindy.com, print it off and enjoy it. And stay tuned, because we're going to be right back for more of your health.